they've kind of let break a lot of us. We are way late starting that. Well, we're on the second one, right?
Something we may never know. We'll be searching till the end. Open books, you'll never find the key that hides the mystery. Something we may never hear as we play and we pretend, send the song, but it returns alone, just an echo of our own. Will we ever get to know anymore? Will we never find the why and what for? Through the world we're wandering, lights before eyes, seeking in the darkness where the deepest secret lies. Will we ever know anymore? Will we never find the why and what lies before our eyes, seeking in the darkness where the deepest secret lies. Something we may never find, though we hope at every bend. Just a sign, and time to count upon. With this we travel
Dum 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 dum.
I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. You used to rock me in the cradle of your arms. You said you'd hold me till the pains of life were gone. You said you'd comfort me in times like these, and now I need you. Now I need you. And you are I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Since you've gone and left me, there's been so little beauty, but I know I saw it clearly through your eyes. Now the world outside is such a cold and bitter place. Here inside I have few things that will console. And when I try to hear your voice above the storms of life, then I remember all the things that I was told. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I think on the things that make me feel so wonderful when I was young. I think on the things that made me laugh, made me dance, made me sing. I think on the things that made me grow into a being full of pride. I think on these things, for they are true. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I thought that you were gone, but now I know you're with me. You are the voice that whispers all I need to hear. I know a please, a thank you, and a smile will take me far. I know that I am you and you are me and we are one. I know that who I am is numbered in each grain of sand. I know that I've been blessed again and over again. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes.
Good morning. It's nice to see you here today. I start this service asking if people mind if the people speaking in the pulpit take off their mask. If that would make you uncomfortable with the speakers right here taking off their masks or the song leaders taking off their masks, would you please let us know? We want to keep everyone comfortable. Okay, thank you. This is All Souls. It's a church built on covenant and not creed. Covenants are the promises we make with each other and because of our principles of Unitarian Universalism, they're also a covenant we make with the denomination or the association of congregations. If you want to know more about the principles, I'll be giving a version of them later in the service. It's not the verbatim one that's on the little cards that we hand out. And our congregation has voted to include one more that is still in process for the majority of our movement, our tradition, our denomination. It has to do with dismantling systems of oppression and being intentional about that work. But we think it's more important how we live this life than worrying about what comes after this. We don't all think alike. We do try to love alike and be respectful with one another, listening and learning from one another, and being honest, maintaining integrity. It's all part of this tradition. So, whoever you are, whatever your age, race, origin, orientation, background, status, ability, identity, if you care to be here with us, you're welcome. And we hope to get to know you better while maybe you get to know us better. We front load, I want to ask one thing that we have not been asking. We have a regathering committee that's been making decisions about stuff, and that committee has not yet made this decision. I am asking this morning for a group conscience in this sanctuary, being mindful that we will be singing, and so, there's air that comes out more than just sitting quietly during the service. I would like to know if anyone would be uncomfortable with us removing our masks, all of us, during the service. I see a hand back there. Would you be uncomfortable if we take our masks off? No, I don't want to pressure anybody. I'm just trying to get a clear message. Do we need to leave our masks on? Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, I will be asking this each Sunday, and if one person is uncomfortable, we will leave it on that week. But until the group committee makes a decision for us as kind of a policy or whatever. But you are, at this point, welcome to take your masks off and breathe a little bit. You don't have to. All right. So we front load the service with a little bit of information, and I'm going to ask one of our board persons of the day to come share. So neither one of them have anything to say? Okay, Miss Jennifer, would you?
Good morning. I'm Jennifer Russell. Our giveaway the plate recipient for October is the Caddo Parish or Caddo Bossier League of Women Voters. They do a lot of work to encourage engagement, above voting, of course, but also above and beyond that in the democratic process for all citizens. So anything that comes in that's not designated as a pledge will go to that organization for the month of October. Our volunteers of the month this month are the tech team. This is awkward. James Peck and myself. Yeah. So and coming up this next weekend, we have some fall Halloween Samhain activities. So at 3 o'clock on Saturday the 29th, Thistle, which is the Druid group that meets on our property out front, is having their Samhain ritual, and they have invited us to participate in that. It's at 3 o'clock. If you'd like to come, it'll be out in the Grove. After that, from 5 to 7, we're having a trunk or treat. So if you'd like to come and participate with decorating your car, decorating a trunk, bringing a game for kids to play, or just coming in your costumes and trick-or-treating. During that time, we'll also be having our middle and high school class is putting on a bake sale, the proceeds of which are going to go to Hope House. And that will be available they'll have that set up during trunk or treat, and they will also be doing that during the service next Sunday. So just keep that in mind. Thank you. Thank you.
I think Jennifer actually covered most everything. I just wanted to clarify that we are honoring the whole tech team over this last part of the year. So we started with James and Jennifer, who are scary good, but we're also going to be thankful next month for Bennett Upton, who's been our camera person, and then we're going to celebrate in December. Also, Deborah Warren, who's filled in on sound upstairs, and Steve Caldwell, who's been publishing links and being our substitute camera person when needed. Ava Kate Peck has been our camera person a few times. So we're going to get around to everybody. And I just want to thank y'all for your efforts and thank everybody for being here. Thanks.
I also want to add that there's a mayoral forum Tuesday, I believe it's 7, at Southwood, that the League of Women Voters, it's at 6? Okay, like I said, 6 o'clock at Southwood. The candidates, I went to an earlier forum, and I would say that attending and hearing the candidates can have a good bit of sway if you would like to learn more about it. There are a lot of people on the slate. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Don't forget that removing slavery is on our ballots this election. Removing slavery, the legality of some slavery in the state of Louisiana is on ballots. If you want to take it off, you will vote yes on 7? On number 7. And the millages for the library are back up. I mean, there's a lot of important stuff to vote on. So please pay attention. Hopefully, this will be a safe place for the next hour. So if you can, let yourself relax into your seat and let the seat hold you. Let your thoughts be where you are instead of running crazy, attending things that may be concerning elsewhere. Just for this hour, put your mind and feet in the same seat. Well, maybe don't put your feet in the seat. But you can if you want, but relax a little bit. And let us enter the spirit of elevating, contemplating matters of worth, which is the root of worship. Because with the freedom we have this day to be anywhere we choose, each of us has chosen to be here. We're together this hour. Perhaps we came for different reasons, or maybe all for the same one. Assurance that hope is justified. Assurance that we belong. We fit. We have a purpose. We have value. Our dreams are not naive. Our calling is not lost. Our compassion, our optimism, our faith is not foolish. In a world ravaged by violence, by hatred, by conflict that seem eternal and insoluble, sometimes the only thing we can do is be still for a moment, to remind ourselves what is real. The sun that rose this morning, the dirt under our feet, the air whispering in and out of our lungs. This hour, try just to be present in each moment as it unfolds. Your simple attention is what makes these moments holy. May we recognize and abandon the familiar attitudes and practices that don't serve the whole. We are who we are. And we have the opportunity to be who we want to be, to create a new inheritance for the future. May our thoughts, words, and actions in our daily lives assist in dismantling paradigms of oppression and suffering. May we give thanks for our individual place in time and space, to our families and our relationships that touch and change us. May we give thanks to the wise teachers who help us remember how to be. Underneath and within these stories and histories is our humanity. Wisdom is revealed by looking in between. Listening with love and curiosity, may we hear what we need to hear. Looking with love and curiosity, may we see what path we might need to take from here. Come, let us join in a spirit of worship. Would any of the young folks like to lead the first part of our chalice lighting? I think we'll try that one.
We light it.
As loud as you can.
We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart. Together with mind, hands, and heart, we can care for the earth and for each other.
Who wants to light the chalice today? Let me get Can you reach it? Good job. Thank you. It's lighted. Here we go. Thank you very much. Miss Susan, would you come join me, please? We light this chalice as a beacon of hope for who have gathered here this day, for all who have ever walked through our doors, for those who may yet find this spiritual home, and for those whose paths may never come our way. Flaming chalice, symbol of our living tradition, we kindle you for light.
Light to guide our way forward together.
Chalice flame, we kindle you for love.
Love to comfort us as our hearts break for the pain of the world. Love to bring us into community so we may grow stronger together.
Chalice flame, we kindle you for hope.
Hope that one day, soon, peace will prevail. Hope that we may build the beloved community together.
In unity, for light, love, and hope, we kindle this flame. Thank you. In this season of our studying and exploring Unitarian Universalism, I didn't explain that earlier. We go through different seasons of study in our congregational life and try to have the worship services on the same general topics as the children's religious education classes, which we usually shorten into RE, religious education. We move through different topics during the course of the year. We go through Unitarian Universalist identity, our Jewish and Christian heritage, world religions, peace, social justice, and the interdependent web of existence, and personal spiritual growth and development. So this season we are in Unitarian Universalist identity. But let us be reminded of our principles, like I mentioned a little bit earlier. In this free church, we come together without creed, focusing instead on the core values of justice, equity, and compassion, of mutual acceptance of our diverse ways of being, as we seek to connect ourselves more fully with the unfolding truths of life and of our world. We come together in shared conviction that all people deserve a voice in matters that concern them, and that it is up to each of us to protect the rights of all, particularly those, for whatever reason, who have long been held in silence. We come together in the stubborn belief that community is possible and that peace is more than a dream. We commit together to affirm in our actions as well as our words the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. We come together in awareness of our interdependence with all humanity and with the wider web of existence. For that, too, is part of what we mean by we. In this free church, we come together without creed, believing that the way we live in the world bears testament to the values of our beliefs. For all this and for all those things we dare to hope and dream, we have kindled our chalice this day. Would you please join me in the unison affirmation? Rise in body or spirit and say it as you are comfortable. Okay, so those of you who know it, say it with us, please. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we covenant with each other. Our opening song is one I wrote for, actually for World Religions, I think. Hopefully the melody of the verse and chorus will be easy enough so that by the second verse you'll be able to sing along with us. Somebody turned my lyrics around. Thank you. All over the world, people need something to carry them and something to believe. All over the world with different claims, people seek the mystery and call it different names. Founders of tradition try to ease the pain, live into the answers, the questions stay the same. So in time, people go following the teachings they best come to know. So in time, paths divide. It's hard for people not to judge and pick a side. Founders of tradition try to ease the pain, live into the answers, the questions stay the same. Why is life as it is? How did this all happen? What comes after this? Faith and words, heart and soul. Many are the ways, but we all share a goal. Live into the answers, the questions stay the same. Thank you very much. Please be seated. I do try to put them in keys that are good for y'all.
Good morning again. So I wanted to tell you, first of all, in the spirit of things yet to be revealed, which is Reverend Barbara's theme this morning, my husband Steve and I got Chinese food this week on Thursday from one of our favorite little restaurants, Taste China in South Bossier, right around the corner from our house. And this was my fortune cookie. I don't know if you can read it from where you are, but it said, "Fear knocked at the door. Faith answered. No one was there." Now, what do you think that means? Fear knocked at the door. Faith answered. No one was there. That faith dispels fear. That fear is gone because faith is there, right? And I thought that is beautiful. I thought it was so beautiful that what do we do with beautiful things? Of course, we put them on our Facebook page. And I put it on my Facebook page and I said, "I hear you, fortune cookie." I did. But as the days have gone by since Thursday, I thought, you know what? I think I would, as much as I like it, and I do still like it, but I think I would rewrite it. I think I would want to say, fear knocked at the door, faith answered and said, "It's all right that you're here. Stand with me. We got this." And the reason I think I like that version better, and I think they could make it fit, on the little paper, but the reason I like that version better is because life can be scary sometimes. And as much as you might recite the rhyme, face the fear, and the fear will disappear, a lot of times the fear doesn't disappear, right? A lot of things can be sad and hurtful and scary in this world. And so what I liked about rewriting it is fear is still standing there at the door, but that's when the strength and the courage that we get from our faith is there beside us, is there with us, is there all around us. And in this church, you're here to kind of work out what that word means to you. We all in this room, I'll bet you every one of us has a different idea, whether you have faith in God or goddess or gods and goddesses or nature or the universe or just the good, the collective good of this community where you've come to know people, or where I hope you will come to know people that will love you and support you when fear is at the door. When fear is at the door, this faith can be with you and say, "It's all right that you're here. Stand with me. We got this." I want to tell you before we sing the children and youth out to their classes that this is a painting day with Maggie. And so you'll have your chalice lighting, a little check-in, and then get together and paint. And yes, we are planning for a bake sale next week and an intergenerational service next week. And Ava Kate has assured me that you can plan and paint at the same time, and I totally believe you. All right? So let's sing them out, y'all. Thank you. Go now in peace. Go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. It's all right, Mom, if you want to go and see where they're going, that's fine. We want everyone to be comfortable. Thank you.
This reading is from Leslie Takahashi. She's a Unitarian Universalist minister. They teach us to read in black and white.
Truth is this, the rest is false.
You are whole or broken.
Who you love is acceptable or not.
My life tells its truth in many hues.
We are taught to think in either ors.
I believe the teachings of Jesus or Buddha.
I believe in human potential or a power beyond a single human will.
I am broken or I am powerful.
My life embraces multiple truths, speaks of both and.
They teach us to see in absolutes.
Good versus evil.
Male versus female.
Old versus young. My vision sees the fractions, the spectrum, the margins.
Let us open our hearts to the complexity of our worlds.
Let us make our own lives a sanctuary to nurture our many identities.
The day is coming when they will know
That the rainbow world is more gorgeous than monochrome.
That a river of identities can ebb and flow over the static, stubborn rocks in its course.
That the margins hold the center.
Over time, we will all come to know more, see more, understand more, or not.
We teach, yes.
More is yet to be revealed.
Thank you, sir. If you can remember this line, I'm going to point to you and ask you to say it at places, but it may take a minute to get to it. What I'm going to ask you to say is, this is loving and being loved. Okay? To become is a lifelong process. Nothing is constant, not even the self. We evolve in the midst of narratives meant only for some and ways of being made narrow by fear and power. We must then have the courage to listen to the truth of our own lives, to the wisdom that comes from within, responding without resistance or need to control, but with welcome and curiosity. This is what ensures our becoming is an unfolding of our truest self. This lifelong labor cannot be carried out alone. It requires help from friends and lovers, family, and creaturely companions who bear witness to what makes us come alive and say to us, listen, look, feel, pay attention to that. This is love and being loved. Let me say it again. This is love and being loved. Celebrating new beginnings that excite, holding wrists together, leaning into unknowns with the promises of support and companionship. This is loving and being loved. Listening to the future, calling uniquely to each of us in the midst of all of life's noise. Helping one another find our place in the shared labor of collective life, supporting each other in what it is in the world's ache that's asking something from us. This is loving and being loved. There is no me without you. We shape one another. The sacred that birthed us weaves our lives together so that we can only find ourselves through shared becoming. For my journey and all my winding ways, for yours, for all the saints who labored for what is, all the kin whose lives made ours possible, for all those yet to come, for whom living our truths today will mean breaking possibilities open for them tomorrow, we pause, we give thanks, we acknowledge. This is loving and being loved. Spirit of the living, God who we each know in our own way, turn our faces to the east to look for your presence. Turn our faces in any and every direction from which you draw near to us. Teach us to look for you in places we would not expect to find you. Teach us to find you in places so well known to us that we now fail to see you there. Help us to see you in every guest we entertain. Let the beauty of a rose, of any bloom, reveal your presence to us. Let every bird who wings across the sky above remind us of the freedom that is ours. Let every star in the heavens be a light in the darkness of our lonely nights. Never let us forget that you are love and that those who abide in love abide in you. Teach us to love, to look east, sweet mystery, and north and south and west, that we might find you, the unfolding, the ever new, the sacred unknown in every place we look, including within ourselves. Amen. Walk the maze within your heart. Guide your steps into its questioning curves. This labyrinth is a puzzle leading you deeper into your own truths. Listen in the twists and turns. Listen in the openness within all searching. Listen. A wisdom within you calls to a wisdom beyond you. In that dialogue lies peace. You believe that? I do. Last night, at 15 minutes past midnight, my phone rang. It said the call was from Monroe, and so I assumed it was a robocall, but I thought, I never get robocalls after midnight, and so I thought I better answer it, and I did. In the background, kind of like there was a TV not very far away, but that was what the sound was kind of like. The only voice I heard said, your reason for being here no longer exists. You must shut down. Well, I really sort of wish I hadn't, totally out of curiosity, but I hung up at that point. Yes, I'll never know what would have come after that. They didn't call back. But it did kind of make me wonder, how many of you found yourself at some point during the pandemic feeling a bit like that was true? Kind of your reason for being here wasn't. And you had been forced to shut down. The reality of some parts of that were undeniable for months for pretty much all of us. The sci-fi parts, the spin-offs of ideas that I went down, you don't want to hear it, might have been fun, and they may have been frightening to play with. But what we know or had known stopped, right? Who we knew ourselves to be and how we knew ourselves in relationship to all that was around us was changed. We learned a lot about, I think, our own needs, our limitations, how flexible we are or aren't. We learned new ways to do a whole lot of stuff, or either how to do without it. We got stunned. We got creative. And we got tired. Now, dawn's maybe shyly cracking open here and there. But mostly, I've not just seen flocks of phoenixes rising from the ashes, with great glory and gusto and energy from the ashes of COVID, or from the ashes of the insurrection, or from the ashes of the climate change we're already witnessing, or international or domestic human rights abuses, financial circumstances, educational or spiritual and religious institutions. Those phoenixes that we try to watch the horizons for are just not obvious yet, are they? You feel them? Are you seeing them? Do you still have faith that the light overcomes the dark? Do you still have faith that those phoenixes are going to rise? From whence cometh my help? The Hebrew Testament says, I look to the hills. And that from which creation has come gives me strength. But I think of how empty things felt, and then that puts me in mind of phrases from different studies like creatio ex nihilo, creation out of nothing, saying that matter came from nothing, and then ex nihilo nihil fit, out of nothing comes nothing. So there had to be something. And for a lot of my life, I played with those kinds of things. Like, okay, you believe in the Big Bang. What made the Big Bang happen? From what did the Big Bang spring? And if it sprang from something, where did that something come from? You know, those kinds of things. When I was knee-high to a duck, I was already asking those questions. They haven't gone away, and to me, they still point out the limitations of my understanding. The frameworks that, frankly, every human I know hold are too small, too limited to wrap around the idea of anything that might be infinite. Infinite numbers. I don't care if you're a mathematician. You're playing with stuff that's going to baffle you. Right? I mean, the theories are one thing, but the actuality of that kind of stuff, I don't have those answers. There's a Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam of Nishapur, Iran, that's been translated a number of different ways. The translation that I love comes from Edward Fitzgerald. Someone gave it to me on a little card this big, 40 years ago at least. And sometimes my mind goes back to it, and in this instance, trying to consider in the vacancies or the empty spaces or the drained tanks that we're all working from, where those phoenixes will come, where that energy will arise, where that light that is will begin to pierce. I think of this poem. Then to the rolling heaven itself I cried, asking what lamp had destiny to guide her little children stumbling in the dark. And a blind understanding, heaven replied. That's about trusting that more will be revealed. Somehow, stuff we don't know is going to help solve the things that can confound us where we sit. The most influential Unitarian Universalist theologian for the 20th century, granted we're in the 21st, was James Luther Adams. Actually, he was Unitarian theologian, but he also lived and participated in this tradition for 30 years, 30 some odd years past the merger of the Unitarian and Universalist Church. So James Luther Adams was the foremost theologian for Unitarianism. I have never seen him accredited with being the foremost theologian for Unitarian Universalism. That's a curiosity to me. But he kind of boiled a lot of his views theologically down into what he called the 5 smooth stones of liberal religion. 5 stones because that's how many David picked up to slay Goliath. And the speculation is that David picked up 5 stones because Goliath had 4 brothers. Anyway, I don't follow tangents very often. According to JLA, James Luther Adams, the 5 stones are this. This is the first one. Religious liberalism depends on the principle that revelation is continuous. More is going to be added to what we understand, know, and see all the time, and that's his first premise for a Unitarian or liberal theology. Our religious tradition is a living tradition because we are always learning new truths. His second is all relations between persons ought ideally to rest on mutual free consent and not on coercion. We freely choose to enter into relationship with one another. The third is religious liberalism affirms the moral obligation to direct one's efforts toward the establishment of a just and loving community. It is this which makes the role of the prophet central and indispensable in liberalism: justice. Prophet being those who call the truth what they see it and speak truth to power, not those that prognosticate. Unless they're saying this is going to happen unless you do something about it. Like all of the people talking about climate change are prophets. We don't have to be Chicken Little and say the sky is falling, or we're not Chicken Little if we feel the pieces hitting us in the head. Anyway, fourth, we deny the immaculate conception of virtue and affirm the necessity of social incarnation. Agency. Good things don't just happen, people make them happen. I take some exception to that. But that doesn't surprise you either. The fifth one, liberalism, holds that the resources, both divine and human, that are available for the achievement of meaningful change justify an attitude of ultimate optimism, hope. Our hope is justified. We are called on by life to work for good, to work for justice, to stay open to change and know that things will change and more will be revealed, whether we like it or not. Where there was nothing, where there was not a liberal religious presence in this community, a family called the Liebers envisioned one and started getting people together. Almost 75 years ago? Aren't we close to that? Right? So from nothing except some faith and the awareness of a need, the founders of this congregation created a church. People with faith and a dream built a community that has gone through lots of phases and ups and downs through the decades. It's made a lot of difference in this city. And we still do, frankly. They started very small, and they worked together with commitment and heart for the things that they knew were good and right and true. And they built this into what it grew into and what it continues to be. I call on you to be a dreamer and continue that work. Try to be as open to possibility as possible. Know that no matter what we think, more will be revealed. Our closing hymn is We'll Build a Land. I love this song. So I invite you to rise in body or spirit. And sing with us. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come, build a land where sisters, one family, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where all is one family, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bind up cities, raising up devastations from old, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come, build a land where all is one family, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come, build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come, build the land, my people we seek. Come, build a land where all is one family, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Because of those who came before, we are. In spite of their failings, we believe. Because of and in spite of the horizons of their vision, we too dream. When faced with a challenge such as these, we can turn toward one another, or we can turn against. We can ignore the cries of our neighbors, or we can let them cry into the arms of our witness. We can respond with indifference to systemic injustice, or we can commit to its undoing. Good souls, tales will be told of how we responded when these particular hells were visited upon our earth. Let us know and let it be said by generations to come that when the pain of our separations were revealed, we moved closer to the promised land of our beloved community. Before you, the unfolding, I lift my eyes and cries in faith and hope. Teach me, teach my heart healing words. Show me the words that help rather than harm. Instruct me in the verbs that bring energy, the nouns pointing to the real, the adjectives describing your subtleties. Reveal to me how words can be offered in a way that connects rather than separates, that develops trust and eschews suspicion, that opens the heart and relaxes the mind. Amen. So be it. Ashe. Go in peace. One, two, three, four.
I will not be afraid, for I know my hope, it is justified. I know revelation still unfolds. I will not be ashamed. I will open my soul to the mystery beyond my control. The love that makes this broken world whole. There is only so far down the road a body can see. I will do what's mine and move on. Speaking truth with love to powers ever greater than me. With compassion, I'll be where I belong. I will not be afraid, for I know my hope, it is justified. I know revelation still unfolds. I will not be ashamed. I will open my soul to the